Want to know what the movers and shakers of New Hampshire's performing arts are thinking? Welcome to New Hampshire Unscripted with your host, Ray Dudley.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes. I have so much. We're not going to get in an hour. You're going to have to come back at some point.
Oh, that's fine.
Because you're so busy. First, congratulations on the improv the other night.
Thank you.
That was really cool. Was it a lot of hard work?
No, no, actually not at all. We only had just a couple of rehearsals, and the beautiful thing about improv is that you can sort of just come in and do it.
Yeah.
If you have the right people and the right energy and the right relationships even. The four of us happen to be really close friends, so it worked out. It was pretty easy to put together, actually.
Have you done improv before?
Just in college, really just for fun. I haven't tried to do it professionally or anything like that. It makes for a great warm-up before rehearsals, but it's not anything I've actually pursued. It is fun.
Yeah, well, there was some hysterical stuff going on that night. There was some crazy. It was really hilarious.
Oh, God.
The two women who you brought up, to do the sound effects.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Yeah. Oh, man, I was in stitches. And that was a fundraiser for your church, right?
It was for the trip. It was for Mission Mexico.
Gotcha.
Very specifically, 100% of the proceeds went to that, which is great. And now that trip is actually postponed because of the coronavirus. We just found out this afternoon. But it's more about protecting them than it is protecting us, because those kids don't have the same healthcare systems that we have. And even though we're safe and we're fine, if we bring anything to them, they don't even have hospital beds or hospitals, never mind the medication they might need. For the time being, it'll be postponed. But
you forget how blessed we are in this country. We just take it for granted, right?
Oh, gosh, we don't. The last time we went and I came back, I remember looking around my room like, why do I have so much stuff? Like, why do I have all of this?
Wait till you have to move. Moving really brings all that out.
Oh, yeah.
You'll find boxes that you're like, wait, what? What in the world was I thinking having this thing here?
Why do I own this?
Yes. So you're busy. You're just busy. You're one of the busiest people I know. For somebody so young, you're crazy busy. I mean, you've been directing, you do acting, you're involved in music ministry at your church, you're involved in the church.
Yeah.
You do modeling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's more as well. I just recently started social media managing for 2 different wedding photography businesses, and also I'm going to be second shooting a little bit this summer with a few of them, because I hate sitting still, I guess.
Okay, so I have no idea about what that second shooting, what does that mean?
So usually when you hire a photographer for your wedding, there's usually a second photographer with them.
Like a backup in case the first gets injured.
Well, yeah.
Just kidding.
No. I guess it could work that way. It's usually someone admittedly a little bit less experienced, wouldn't do any of the editing or anything like that, but they'll come in and kind of get the opposite angle. Like the head photographer would be getting all the pictures of the bride getting ready, while the secondary can go get shots of the centerpieces and things like that, kind of covering more ground in that way. But it's great money.
Yeah.
It's a great side gig, especially for actors, because you can just pick it up on weekends that you're not performing.
Okay, so there's another layer to things that I was going to ask, but obviously we'll probably not get to. I want to kind of go back to the beginning, because I like to learn about how people got to where they are.
Sure.
So I want to peel it off if we can. Let's start with the acting.
Yeah.
Well, when did you first start acting? What gave you the bug? Do you live in New Hampshire? Have you always lived in New Hampshire?
Yes. Yeah, I lived in southern New Hampshire for a long time, and now I'm up in the Lakes region.
Okay.
And soon on the seacoast.
Yeah, right. Jeez. So how did you get the bug for acting? Where did that come from?
So it started way, way back in elementary school. My brother's always been one of my biggest influences in life, and he was doing a lot of theater, and it was very much like, I want to do what Ryan does. And for a while, he said I wasn't allowed to do it. It was his thing.
Really?
To tell a kid they're not allowed to do something, of course they want to do it, so it made me want it all the more. And I think it was just that I followed him around enough as it was. Like, this was the one thing I couldn't follow him to, an after-school program. So I played a couple sports and pretended I was athletic for a while. And then he switched schools. He transferred to a more private artistic high school that he wanted to go to, that I didn't follow him to, but I pursued it in elementary school, all through middle school, and then through high school and into college.
Did you major in it in college, or you just did it?
Yeah, my BA is in music theater performance and makeup design.
Oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
None whatsoever. The first time I had actually seen you was that one woman show at the Hatbox.
Yeah.
I don't even know the name. Can't recall the name of it, but
Rave Light. Rave Light was the best. It's the one most people remember. Huh. I think That was right at the beginning of my professional career. So it's a good mile marker. I like that. Like, this is where people first saw you. Like, good place to catch me first. That's great.
Well, I like the Hatbox too. It's so intimate. It was a great place for that show.
Yeah. No, it worked out fine. And then he did it with a different actress at the Players Ring.
Oh, really?
And yeah, so the way that show worked was he had written the script. It wasn't done yet. He had actually, I think he had just about finished the first act. And Matthew Gaskell, he's the playwright. He was more familiar with the Seacoast and had just learned about the Hatbox. And he came up to the Hatbox season auditions and he was looking for really a guinea pig, for lack of a better term. He's like, I'll bring the script here first, see how it goes. I'll use a different actor, and then we'll see. Saw my audition, came up to me right after, asked me if we could get together sometime. He met me down at a restaurant in Massachusetts that I was working at a few weeks later and presented the idea. He said, okay, so I have this one-woman show. I'm not done writing it. It's about somebody your age. And it's, this is what it's going to be. It's at this Hatbox one weekend. It's a paid gig. What do you think? And I was like, a one-woman show sounds so terrifying for a brand new professional actor. And I'm like, well, I mean, do what scares you, of course. So I did it. We finished the script. I say we, he finished the script. He asked mine and my, our stage manager, Meredith Hansen, he asked our opinions a lot. He's like, I'm not a woman. Does this make sense? But we, I like to think we gave an opinion at least while he was finishing it. And then it went up for one weekend. He said his biggest mistake was only booking one weekend because it was near sold out every show. It booked a second theater the night after it opened. Or well, really the morning after the night it opened. Another theater contacted us and said, on review alone. So we went up to the Footlights Theater in Falmouth, Maine, and we did it there a few months later. And since then, I've done, let's see, how many shows with Greg? I couldn't even count them right now. I'd have to actually think about it. But a lot of his shows and a lot of stuff at the Hatbox and the Players Ring ever since then.
He is a crazy writer.
Oh, my gosh. Brilliant.
Yeah.
So brilliant. And he's incredibly humble, too. I mean, he'll always think he's like, I could do better.
He cracks me up. His wit is so sharp.
I know. We were thinking about the style that he writes in. Like, I think he likes to write about really frantic people in desperate situations. Yeah. That's what he likes to write about. And that just makes for fantastic theater.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were in that other one he did, 8x8 or something. Yeah. That was hysterical, too.
Oh, gosh, great show.
Oh, my God.
We could probably do it tomorrow if we wanted to.
That was so funny.
It was great. Did you see Background Check as well? That was the most
yes.
recent one.
Yes, I did.
Yep, he did that as well.
I liked 8x8 more. I know he did. But...
Similar cast. But yeah, I think 8x8 was a favorite of ours too, the typical crowd that he likes to work with. Because I think he writes around personalities. Like, he thinks of the actors that he knows. I don't know this for fact. It's kind of just a theory most of us have about him. Like, you seem to pull from a lot of the same types of people. Is it because these are the actors you know and you like their personalities and you know what they bring to the table? Because he'll write a show and then cast it just without an audition. He's like, okay, here it is. And here's my cast. I'm like, all right, cool. Of course, Andrew, I mean, everybody, Barbara, everybody's going to just, it's like, I don't think he has to pitch at theaters anymore.
Yeah, that's a great place to be. Yeah, I know. Well, it's like Andrew pitching at the Hatbox. Really?
He owns it.
Yeah, I know.
His magic show, have you seen it?
Twice.
It's great.
I know.
It's so great.
I know. I'm always stumped, always.
I know. Well, I never know how he does it. And he's such a comedian all on his own, too.
There's that whole rubber band thing where it goes right through the arm. I've seen it twice. Me either.
I still don't know how he did the card thing with me.
Which one?
Where you sign the card and then he like puts it on a cup or something and then he pulls it folded out in his wallet. I'm like, when did you even fold the card? Never mind how did it get in the wallet.
I love it. I
was 2 feet away from him. To this day, that card is in my car. And I'm like, this is from the best magician I've ever seen live.
He is a great interview, too. He has stories that just stun me.
Oh, his career goes back forever.
Yeah.
He's a wonderful influence, very inspiring, very loving person. Really, really honest, bold, truthful person, too. I find that I like when he pops into rehearsals because I can kind of like ask him if I want to, like, what do you think about this? I'll be like, he'll be honest with me.
Yeah.
And he can, like, even at the end of a show, if I was like, what do you think? Kind of felt like a weak show. He'll be like, I think this night was better for you. Can you imagine, like, why? Like,
he has a great eye for that.
So good for that. And never insulting, like, you've done better. Like, never like that.
And he offers that service to all the groups that come in. And so very few take him up on it.
And it's a mistake. I think that's pride on some people's part, too.
I wasn't going to go there, but...
You're like, I don't want your opinion. You do. You want his opinion.
Especially for that building, right? For that room. I mean, he has a real sense for what works and what doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, know your elders in the performance world and, respect those opinions. The ones that maybe you didn't ask for, that you don't appreciate, maybe you take with a grain of salt.
Mm-hmm.
Like I won't say who, somebody told me once upon a time that I should stick to plays and I shouldn't do musicals. And I was like, well, nobody asked you.
So we're going to end up skimming over a lot of things because I really would like to. I want to talk to you about your Christian life. I want to talk to you about your modeling. I want to talk to you about your acting. And I want to talk to you about what's the latest with your trip to Ireland. You at one time wanted to go to Ireland, right?
Yeah, I think school was kind of an excuse to be there. It's a very easy visa. I don't want my master's. I really don't, especially because most masters in theater, it comes down to education or philosophy of theater, which is not. I'm more interested in performance. And you can get your master's in performance, but like, why would you? Just go perform. You learn more doing that. And I mean, I've learned so much more out of college than I ever did in. I learned very much in college. I shouldn't say that, but doing it means so much more. But yeah, Ireland has a very, very special place in my heart. I think it is it's a beautiful place. It's not the geography though. There's something about their culture that I love. I love it. But the more time in the couple of times that I've been there, I would always hate coming back. But then once I got back, I would be like, I don't want to abandon everything here. The more I felt like just uprooting and going there, it was like, I don't know what I'm running from right now. Cause there are people here and there are things here that I love, there's Dunkin' Donuts.
So do you think so rather than something that's attracting you to there, you think there's something that you'd be running from here? Is that?
Well, in the time, I can go to a really vulnerable place. In a time when I was like, that's it, I'm moving, I'm leaving. There was so much chaos, for lack of a better term, in my life that I was like, I don't have anything to do here and I don't really want to be here. I don't like the memory here. So I'm just going to up and move. And then in the waiting period and in the transition of trying to figure out, okay, how to move, when to move, I started to build these new relationships with people here. And I started to get more involved with this church and I found more opportunity in my theater world and just relationship more than anything else. Mm-hmm. It kind of seemed like, what was I chasing there that I wasn't getting here? Would I be satisfied staying here? And I think it's more than just Ireland for me. I love travel in general. It's become very important to me in my life. And it's really just because there's this thing that I can't let go of, that if we have access to the whole world and we're like a plane ride away, like you could be in Australia by Sunday. Doesn't that kind of blow your mind?
Yeah.
I mean, it's Friday now. You could be there. It takes a long time to get to Australia, but like Ireland for a better example.
I could be hugging a little koala, right?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Him, yeah.
But it makes you think like we get in these jobs and like our day-to-day slump and people think travel is so inaccessible. And it is, first of all, travel is very accessible. And there's just people like, oh, Southwest is so expensive. Like, okay, have you ever heard of Norwegian? It's an amazing airline. It's very inexpensive, but there's all these other ways to travel. And I think I've just learned that culture has become what's important to me and relationship is what's important. And I want to be building those all over the world. And I want to be seeing the world, not for geography, but for culture and for experience. And I think that's what's become important to me. So I'd like New Hampshire to be my home base because this is where my family is. This is where my roots are. As few roots as I do have, I kind of bounce around New Hampshire a lot, but New Hampshire is really where my home is for sure. But I would love the opportunity in life to be traveling very often.
So what are some other places you'd like to go to that you really want to go to? Not just because I could get a ticket there, but
yeah.
What's on your heart to go see? Is it Italy? Is it Spain? Is it? Are there certain places
Europe
that you want
to go? Europe in
general?
Yeah, very beautiful. I'd love to tour Europe in general, but Alaska is a huge one. I'd love to go to Alaska. I'd love to see Australia. I've heard really amazing things about Amsterdam. Mostly just how cool it is. I'm like, well, why? I'm like, just go. Culturally, I'd really love to go to Africa. My stepdad went to Kenya a long time ago, but he went and he said there's something really amazing about their people and the gratitude that they have in their life. And I don't know what it's going to look like, that kind of travel. I don't know if it's more missionary work or things like that. But those are some of the areas. Yeah. I think, Greece. Love to go to Greece. They have a big expressive culture. I'd love to see places like, lots of history. Love to see lots of history, like Poland. Love to go to Poland. And when I was in high school, we were supposed to go to Auschwitz to actually just to see it. And it was like a post-graduation field trip. And there was something about their economy that it was too dangerous to bring a group of such young people. So we didn't end up going.
Yeah,
Such a bummer.
yeah. I want to get back to the African folks for a minute because I love their worship. I don't know if anybody cares about what we're about to talk about, but
Oh, they may.
the ones who come to America, I've spent a lot of time in church, one way or the other. Their heart is so pure
Yeah.
when they worship. It's amazing to me how they reach out to God in a service. They're so innocent, it seems, and humbled, I think, in a way. Maybe it's because by the time they get to here in America, there's such a contrast, between what they have seen and experienced over there. And then you come to this country and it's just this big metropolis thing.
I think it goes back to that gratitude. If joy is sustained in gratitude and they appreciate God moving in their life for that kind of change, to be able to come here, to be able to live here, to see that kind of advancement in their life, because so many people want to come to America just to see it, even if they're only here for a little while, that gratitude of having that opportunity, or just to be alive, like to not be affected by, Africa's massive.
I know.
There's people don't even know this. There's multiple countries in Africa, which is like people think like the country of Africa. Like, no,
right. It's a continent.
it's a
broken
continent,
up
first
into
of all.
countries.
There's many countries, and they're all so different, many different languages, many different cultures, many different lifestyles. And people don't even know that. So to say like, you want to go to Africa, like, okay, where and why? It's all different. Like, Kenya is really the only one I've heard too much about, the only place, but I think that, I think there is a gratitude, and it comes from worship. It comes from praise. Praise is what worship really is. And I think it's just a gratitude.
We used to have at one church I was at some all-night prayer meetings. We do them once a month or so. And they were some of the first people there. And they would just stay all night and just pray and worship and be a part of what was going on there. You could rely upon them. Their love for God was so deep that they could not wait to be a part of those kinds of things, Hopefully we didn't offend anybody there, but
Be offended
I know.
Someone else's worship in their life. Everybody's worshiping something, whether they know it or not.
So as long as we're on that vein, how did you get involved with Next Level, and how long has that been? You seem to be now a very integral part of what's happening there.
I am.
I know.
I am. It's a fast growing church, fastest growing in New Hampshire, I believe, which is phenomenal. I found out about Next Level Church ironically because we were rehearsing 8x8 in their building. So
what?
So Kelsey Dominy was in the show. 8x8 started when, like I said, I was in the midst of just a lot of crap in my life, frankly. The show is wonderful comic relief. I was making these beautiful relationships with Kelsey Dominy, Wayne Asbury, Aaron Campagna, all these fantastic people, wonderful performers, great people to be around. They were wonderful for me, just great people to be around. And Kelsey and I got closer. She's a really, really dedicated, faithful Christian. She goes to that church, highly involved in it as well. She's now one of their production directors. And at the time,
I saw that.
She's good at it too. She heard me out, heard my story, and it was kind of just by happenstance. She and I ended up out hanging posters together, and I was looking for another apartment for a lot of reasons. This podcast would be 6 hours long. I was just looking around at apartments, and she was like, so I've been praying for you. Why have I been praying for you? Because she doesn't know me. She didn't know me at all. She was like, but you specifically, like daily, I felt like I needed to pray for you. And for some reason, on the streets of downtown Concord, I just poured my heart out to her near tears. I'm like, this is all the junk that's in my life. And I made this bullet list of She goes, okay, so when are you going to come to church? And God and I were not friends. I was raised in a Christian home, but I was very much at a point where I was like shaking my fist at the sky. Like, if you really loved me, why would you put me through everything you're putting me through? And really the truth about that is that when you fall flat on your back, you look up. So it's, I don't know, it's great. When you fall on your knees, and it's a beautiful place to be. He's strongest in your weakness, and I was the weakest I'd ever been. So she invited me to church, and I went to Next Level Church in Concord. Really, it's Pembroke. It's right on that line for the first time, April 2 years ago. So next month we'll make 2 years. And I remember walking in, it was very dark, it was very loud, there was a lot of music. And I physically couldn't stop crying, like for the entire worship set. And then I thought that the message was funny and it was great. I loved everybody I met. Nobody was like, oh, you're new, and put me in a corner. It's not like that at the church at all. I think I mean, you've been there before. You kind of see people don't corner you.
No,
it's not like that. And there's so many new people. Sometimes people hardly know that you're new, and it's kind of nice because there's nothing worse than like the churches that call you up to the front, like this person's new.
Yeah,
like let's call them out in this room.
Well, and Pablo's so laid back. Pablo's your pastor there.
Yeah. He's the location pastor.
Yeah, he's so great.
He's wonderful. He's an executive pastor now too. He's climbing the ladder.
Well, the whole place is just climbing the ladder then.
I mean, Concord, there seems to be some kind of advancement from that location. It's it's an olive branch, I guess. But yeah, so Kelsey invited me and I started going there. I joined the worship team, got more involved, and then just this past summer in July, they were in a position where they needed a new worship coordinator. And I had a big heart for worship. I always have. My parents have been worship leaders my whole life. Yeah, actually, my entire life. It seemed like a hard job. I had seen stress come out of it from a lot of people, but there were a lot of times I'd see someone do it and I'd be like, there's a better way to do that. Like, there's a nicer way to do this. And I think this stems from relationships. This is a ministry. This is not just a job. It's a ministry. So I took on the job. I'm very, very happy and proud to say the team is the healthiest it's ever been, which is great. They've called Concord the A+ team. They called it the example team. There's a producer that visits us sometimes from the central location, and he's like, people could learn a lot from Concord. I'm like, I love hearing that. I love that because that's my team and I love them. And that's a culture that I've worked very hard to build.
Music has changed so much, evolved in the Christian arena. Mm-hmm. I mean, you go from, I don't know, what's a basic old time?
Oh, like Jars of Clay. Even then they were
further back, just to, It Is Well With My Soul.
Oh, like hymns.
Yeah, sure. Right. And then it moved on to, I remember back in the 70s and 80s, right? We were starting to get into the integrity music, the Hosanna music, Ron Canoli, some of those folks like that, Sandy Patty. And then it even moved further from that as in the integrity music group morphed even more. And then you had Hillsong come along and, you know,
they're massive.
They're crazy good.
They're engines, really, in the Christian music industry. Them, elevation worship.
It's fascinating. Well. Yeah. So it's amazing to see that progression over time. What are you folks currently using for your basic music? Are you Elevation still?
We float around a lot. We've done some Corey Asbury. We do a lot of elevation worship, some Hillsong, Jesus Culture. We just started, this is a great plug. We just started writing NLC music. There's one song being produced and released this coming Sunday.
Wait, you're writing your own worship music?
Yeah, the churches. Yeah,
that's fascinating.
So far, I've only been an opinion, but it's a growing thing. It's a really, really beautiful.
So you have the folks? You must obviously then have musicians who are very talented in the writing field.
Oh, extremely.
Yeah,
extremely. Yeah, it's. They believe it's why they live and breathe. I would have to agree with them. A few select as well. Someone particularly special to me.
So, what is the hope here? Is it to eventually have this music published, or is it going to maybe stay in-house most of the time?
No, I think it'll be published in the same way that other churches do elevation worship.
Yeah.
There's a church that I went to when I was in Nashville. I'm actually forgetting the name of it right now. There are a lot of churches in Nashville, but the one that I went to, they produce their own music, and there are other churches that do their music, which is great. I think it's wonderful. I mean, we're sharing the worship world. We're all writing from our hearts. We're all writing from our own situations. And right now, the song they just produced is called It's Not Over, and it's based around our lead pastor's book that he just released.
So is the music in Nashville, is it tainted with that Southern
No, I don't think
lifestyle?
So. No. I actually found they might have been even more poppy than we were.
What?
Yeah.
Nashville?
Yeah. Well, it depends on the church. I know. It's funny. Everybody. So I went to Nashville for this. It was a networking event. It was a really fantastic event. It was great. It's all by invite only. You kind of got to know somebody to go in. And I was invited by someone I knew. And I kind of want to now that I'm invited and I can send, I think you can send up to 6 invites to people.
Is this a pyramid scheme?
I know, right? It's got to be. But we went out for that, and everybody I met, I was like, oh, what are you doing? They're like, oh, I'm a singer-songwriter. I'm like, really? You and everyone else in this room?
Yeah.
And I'm like, and that's great. Good for you. What's your music sound like? And it's the Nashville Handshake is exchanging business cards. So that's all we were doing. I'm like, oh, I'm an actor and a model. I'm also a worship leader, but I didn't write the music. I'll sing your music, but I will lead people to Jesus with your music. But we would exchange cards, and then I'd go on Spotify or something and listen to their music. I'm like, it's fantastic. I'm not even sure who I listen to, because a lot of these are the same.
Yeah.
And then there'd be a select few that were really, really different. And I loved
Do you think that's because of, so there is some music which is just formulaic. There is some music which that song came from a deep place and either a lot of hurt or a lot of heart. Mm-hmm. And so do you think that's one of the reasons that it stood out, some of these different songs to you?
I would think so, yeah. Different influences too. I mean, everyone in Nashville is Christian, but a lot of them, a lot of it's gospel music. They come from different walks. They're different ages, so they're in a different place in their walk too. So they write differently in that respect. But I think the culture is there in Nashville, but the influence is still different because they're still different eras. They're coming from different places.
We could talk a lot about that.
We could.
But I'm going to spin off into modeling.
Sure.
But before we do, I'm going to put you on the spot. What's your favorite Bible verse?
Oh, Philippians 4:6.
Quick. And it is?
Be anxious for nothing, but submit everything in prayer.
Oof, that's a tough one.
There's much more to it. That really just Philippians 4 is fantastic, but there's something about be anxious. There's something about stop, pray about it. I love that because there's a whole following section about peace beyond understanding, which is a beautiful, wonderful thing. And everybody should read it. Just even if you're not a believer, just because it's poetry, it's beautiful, but something about 4:6, shut up and pray. I love it.
One of mine it goes right along with that is 1 Timothy 6:6, which is godliness with contentment is great gain. Mm-hmm. So let's talk about your modeling.
Yeah.
Excuse me, my back. I was lifting the other day at the gym. I know, 65-year-old guy lifting it. My back's killing me. Mine really is. Are you still working out?
Yeah, not as much as I should.
You're up there at the Laconia one, right?
Yeah,
Fitness.
Focus.
Yeah, Fit Focus. That's what it is.
That's a cool place.
I drive by it all the time.
I like it's not particularly busy. There's people that go there. I know a lot of people that go there, but you're never waiting for a machine.
So how are they making any money?
It's pretty wealthy place. I have the hospital discount
because
I work for the hospital, but if you don't, it's kind of an expensive gym.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
The Y in Concord is crazy expensive. So is it on that level, I wonder?
It's something I think
a lot of money.
Frankly, I pay $15 a month because I work for the hospital.
Dang.
And I don't have the classes or anything like that. But I think if you have the basic membership, the classes, the tanning, whatever, I think it's $50 a month.
Yeah. Do they have that new stuff, the UV ray stuff, the infrared?
I don't know because I don't tan ever.
This isn't tanning. Okay. It's along that line, but it's not tanning.
It bad.
No, it's really good for you, UV.
It's
yes, infrared. Anyway, all right, so we won't go there either. So let's get back to your modeling / film. So do you do photography? Obviously, you do photography.
Yeah, a little bit.
Where did you pick that up?
Being behind the camera?
Well, yeah, because anybody could say that they can take a picture, but if you're going to do weddings, even second string, or whatever you want to call yourself, second backup.
Second shooter.
Okay, yeah.
I know a lot of photographers, and I was just starting to watch them and kind of appreciate what they were doing. And I had a friend who was selling a camera, and I'm like, hey, I'll take that, sure. So I bought it.
Did you know what it was? And what is it?
It's a Nikon D700, but he sold me this lens for truly half what it's worth because he's a great guy. It's like $1,000 lens. I couldn't even tell you. The terminology is still lost on me.
Got you.
But I love to play with it. I don't start shooting till May, so I have a game plan in April to get coached a little bit with this camera.
Cram course?
Yeah, cram for my final. You know, the hundreds of dollars I'm going to make doing something I'm not doing now. but that's art, right?
It is.
Pick it up in the meantime.
Yeah.
But I really appreciate it in that sense. This is going to make me sound like the millennial that I am. Okay. It's actually amazing what an iPhone can do.
We're filming on one right now. Yes, I agree with you.
They're excellent cameras.
The new ones have 4 freaking lenses in it.
Yeah. And they're great cameras, and they can do so much. I have a friend who I'm following her a little bit. I'm going to follow her footsteps when I get to the Seacoast, but she's a brand ambassador for Instagram, and her photos are amazing of all these products. I'm like, what are you using? I'm like, what tripod? What is that? She goes, that's literally portrait mode on my iPhone. I'm like, and you just
seriously
gotta wonder because there are $1,000 cameras that aren't doing half of what an iPhone is doing.
Yeah, somehow, I don't know what has happened lately to me, but I have stumbled into the field of photography. I'm fascinated by it. These guys who do commercials, young guys, they have these crazy setups to do these little, I was watching one the other night on Coca-Cola and how the cans move out of the way and one is spinning as they shoot through. This guy's doing pizza. It's gorgeous.
Yeah. And it's like an app.
Right.
Like anybody could do it, which is amazing. It makes the market really hard though. Because
Yeah.
now anybody can do it.
I know. Well, but to do it well, right? I mean,
yeah.
I'm fascinated by this whole thing about B-roll. I am now sucked in with the different types of cuts that you can make in a film.
Yeah.
The swish cut, the J cut, the L cut. I'm just fascinated. This whole realm is just like, I sit up literally at night watching stupid YouTube videos about these people doing it. But when you see these photos they take or these short little clips, God, they're fascinating.
And you don't know how many hours went into it.
Oh, yeah, I know. And that's the downside to it, right? Because the editing part of it. I've seen this one where this young guy, God, he can't be any more than 30. He sets up like these alleyway shots and stuff where it looks like he's flipping backwards in midair, but he's actually laying on like a chair or but he can mask it out. And he just kind of, it's the movement of the arms and everything that makes you think he's literally floating in air. But it's crazy what they can do.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated by it.
It is amazing. It's a growing market. It's an undying market too, because that technology and that demand will only advance.
Yeah.
Huge world for it.
It's a wonderful day to be alive technology-wise.
Oh gosh, I know.
When you get back to your point about what's in the iPhone, it's, to me, the power. I don't think 1/10 of what my phone can do.
I don't think anybody does.
Isn't it? And yet somebody has to develop it and put it in there. Somebody is using this technology to do something that I don't even know exists on my phone.
Yeah.
And it's in there. And if you go out to like YouTube, and you could say, all these.
No, if you flip it this way and open this app and click your heels.
If you swipe this way, it's going to do something. I'm like, what? Are you kidding me? It's insane.
And they keep getting bigger and badder, which is great. But so, yeah, that's the photography world. I'm really just dipping my toes. But it's a great thing. I still prefer to be in front of the camera. I love it. Love modeling.
Good segue. Let's talk about modeling. How long have you been modeling? It looks like you thoroughly enjoy it.
Oh, yeah.
Are there certain people you're doing it with on a consistent basis, or do you just kind of rotate between different photographers? And give us a whole idea of what's going on there.
Yeah. So I've been modeling. I did a little bit of like department store runway when I was in middle school, and I think you got to like keep the outfit, which I thought was so cool. Like, do you remember Fashion Bug, that store?
Yes.
They used to do like little runway shows. My mom would be like, Karielle, do you want to do it? I'm like, yeah. So I remember the outfit I kept. It was so cute. I love doing it. I love that attention. I mean, I'm a performer. Love attention. I'll never not admit that. But I loved doing that. And then I started doing it on a more professional level while I was still in college, mostly just because I realized that I had this look and that as an actor, I could kind of take on these characters. So the very first professional level shoot I did was this Halloween broken doll type of shoot. And it was very, very inventive for both of us, for the photographer and I. So I've learned that I love character shoots. So if a photographer comes for me, like something I'll still do now is something called time for print, where I'll model for the shots. So if it's a project I've never done before, like something that is brand new to me, and it's someone who's just like a friend or a friend of a friend, and they're like, it's a passion project. I'm like, okay, if it's something I've never done, I'll do it for my portfolio. But then there are people that'll contact me for like, oh, I need portraits. I'm like, okay, you're going to pay me XYZ because I don't need portraits.
Wait, they need portraits?
Yeah, for their portfolio. They just want like basic headshot type photos, or they want to play with different light, or they just want a really good makeup artist or something like that. And I'm like, okay, that's fine, but you will pay me for time and effort and travel, because those are those things. But something like the broken doll, I don't know. I've done a couple wedding dresses. I usually invoice people for those now because I have a couple of them. What did I do?
Did you use an agent for any of this?
No, I'm freelance. I auditioned with an agency straight out of college, and I won't say which because I might actually give them another shot should this ever come back. But
do I need to bleep it out?
No, it's fine.
Okay.
No, it was
65. I haven't learned that yet, how to bleep out the bad words. So
no bad words. No. I had a really good interview with them. I had a really good callback with them. It's a great agency. They offered me this contract. It was 5 years, which is long.
Really?
I'm like,
5 years?
That's a long time for someone. Probably because I was so young. I mean, I was 21 years old. And I'm like, okay,
but still.
But like 21, you can kind of book someone because they might not travel so far.
5 years is a long time to lock somebody in,
for sure. But so I kind of was hesitant about that. I'm like, I don't know if I want you to own me for 5 years. It was for commercial print. They would make 10% of whatever I make. They were listing companies like Kohl's, Adidas, blah, 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 whoever, all these commercial companies that I'd model for. And then they came down to the wire. They're like, okay, we want to offer you this. We have just a couple of things we want to have you do first. And I'm like, okay. First thing was a class they wanted me to take with them.
Red flag, red flag.
I was like, what is this? It was like an acting class. They're like, we just want to set you up to our culture. I'm like, okay, well, I have a degree, so I don't need your class. I'm like, I've already been doing this. I had already been doing it for however many years. I already had a portfolio. I didn't need this from them. So I kind of I turned my nose at that. And then they said all the things I didn't want to hear. They said, cut 5 inches off your hair, dye it brown, and lose 10 pounds.
Really?
Yeah. So I was like, I'm going to take an hour and consider this, and then I will return. So I left the office. I called a very good friend of mine who's phenomenal in the world. I haven't talked to him in a while, actually. His name is Morgan Murphy. Great guy. He was a film acting coach of mine, I guess, for lack of a better term. But he basically said, he goes, run. He goes, run away from the contract. I'm like, why? He goes, because you have a fantastic look as it is. He goes, you're straight out of college. He's like, you're probably 3 sit-ups away from a six-pack. What do you need to lose 10 pounds for?
Yeah, I'm
From
three.
where?
I'm 3 away from six pack.
Yeah, at this point, it's only been a few years since college. But he basically said, he goes, what they want is the pretty white girl that they can mold every time they feel like it.
Oh man.
He's like, you will become a doll for them for 5 years. He goes, if that's what you want, do it. You might make some money, but you are selling yourself short. I'm like, no, I don't want it. So I didn't want it. And since then,
Was that a local company? You don't have to give
New
the name.
Hampshire, yeah.
Okay.
And actually, it's funny. I have a friend who had signed with them recently and did not have the same experience at all. So I'm wondering if it's different management or whatever.
Yeah.
So I thought maybe this summer, maybe go and see them again and be like, okay, here are the things I'm not going to do. However, but because she did this like really fantastic shoot. She made like $1,000 in a day modeling shoes. I'm like, oh, I could do that.
Shoes?
Yeah, I'm like, shoes? She's like, went through all this hair and makeup and they took pictures. I'm like, okay, great. Yeah, all that to say, I don't have representation. I am considering it. I just wonder what it comes with because I love to pick and choose my own project. And it's not a ton of money when you do that. I'm not really in modeling for the money. I'm not really in the arts for the money in general. I'd love to make a living off of it.
Yeah, good
Really,
luck.
Yeah, no one does.
Yeah.
No. That's why we're brand ambassadors. And
Yeah.
that's why we do
Right.
like VA kind
Like
of.
we work at Costco, giving out those samples.
Oh, please no.
That's a brand ambassador.
For Costco.
Yeah.
But you can do it. I mean, truly, if I can plug this, being a brand ambassador is fantastic money. You book the jobs when you feel like it. It's usually 2 or 3 days in a row. They're like 8 to 10 hour shifts, but it's $25 an hour. You know,
Wow.
it's great. You hand out samples, smile, look pretty. Yay.
That's Costco.
And then you go
Except
home.
not $25 an hour.
No,
and
they're
not-
paying you $8 an hour to
if you're lucky.
and then there's taxes taken off.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you brought that up because I think there's a lot of people. I want to get some agencies in or 1 or 2 people from an agency because I think there's a lot of these scamish kind of things that folks need to avoid. So I'm glad you brought that up and talked a little bit about
There's
that.
a lot of things to avoid, especially as a freelancer. I've experienced a lot of these, especially because so much of my networking is social media. Any idiot with a camera can tell you he's a photographer and be like, yeah, come to my studio. Super creepy. First of all,
Weinstein.
if you're ever doing a shoot with, and this is advice to all models, listen closely. If you're ever doing a shoot with someone you've never worked with before, bring someone with you. Especially if it's indoors. If it's outside, if it's on not in the woods, but if it's like on a city street, you might be okay to go by yourself. Maybe have somebody nearby or something. But if you can find a friend, a boyfriend, another photographer who can just get some shots while they're there for their own benefit. I do that all the time.
Yeah, great tip.
Just have somebody with you. If that person has a problem with you bringing someone, sorry, no go.
Yeah.
I had a friend not a friend, total stranger, who wanted to not photograph but sketch me. And I thought that was fine. He sort of showed me what he wanted to do. I told him I don't personally do any nudity. For lots of reasons, I think you're kind of throwing something away, what's left to be desired, if you've already been photographed 1,000 times that way. But for lots of reasons, I don't do that. And I told him all the boundaries that I do have, and here's what I will do, here's what I won't. So we came to an understanding, and then he told me that the studio was kind of like made out of his garage, and I'm like, okay, that's actually normal. A lot of people convert.
Okay.
Well, a lot of people will do it. I mean, I have a friend, Scott, who has a phenomenal studio, and it is converted out of a garage, and he's high-end. I mean, he shoots for Grubhub. Like, he's a big photographer. He did my headshots recently. He's a wonderful guy, too. Scott Erb. He's great. Yeah.
Plug.
But so that guy, the guy who wanted to sketch me, I told him that I was going to bring this other person with me, this guy friend of mine. He was like, no, I kind of he only wants you for 2 hours. It was great money. It was like $150 an hour. It was awesome just to be sketched. I'm like, guy's paying a lot of money to do it, so let's talk to him. And then he was very much against me bringing someone. And he was like, no, it's an invasion. It interrupts the artistic flow. I was like, sorry. Like, I'm not coming to your home and like laying there in any amount of clothing.
Yeah, bells and whistles, they're going off.
Yeah, and it's that kind of thing. It happens all the time. You know, it's just something to be wary of, especially if you're freelance. You know, there are people that will say they only shoot boudoir. Like, okay, well, I don't do boudoir, so
I'll do it.
You call Ray. He'll do it. I'll pass your number around.
I don't think my phone's going to ring much, but that's all right. Okay, I'm going to switch here on us real quick. But going from modeling, which I did want to get more into in the photography stuff, but I do want to talk to you about directing, because you directed recently Singing in the Rain.
Did.
So I want to know what kind of experience that was for you. Would you do it again? Why Singing in the Rain? What was your biggest challenges involved in that play? Chat about that.
So, yeah, all of these things. I was really eager to direct a musical. I had originally been asked to assistant direct. I had a friend who wanted to music direct and artistically direct at the same time. I looked at him and said, "You're crazy." I was like, "That's a ton of work. That's a lot of attention to be paid."
Tell me it was somebody young, because anybody older would know you would not want to do that. No,
he's somewhere in his early 30s.
Okay.
But even still, very experienced as a music director. I thought he was crazy. But so he goes, "Will you just come in and help me direct the scenes a little bit?" He goes, you have the eye for it. You have more of the training for it. I'm like, sure, totally. I had done like minor one-act directing. So I come in. We sort of just had like a couple coffee meetings about what show we wanted to do. We had originally picked You're a Good Man, Charlie Brown. Thought it was nice and cute. Thought it would be fun. Not too difficult. Easy set. Okay, great first musical for both of us to do this. I mean, he'd music directed, but not artistically directed. We brought it to the president of that theater of Footlight, to John Massey, and we're like, so if we were to pitch this, what are the odds? And he goes, personally, I love that show. He goes, however, you're asking for the spring musical slot. He's like, make it huge. He goes, if it's going to be the spring musical, make it big. So we tossed around a couple more ideas. Originally, my partner wanted Spam-A-Lot. I put a huge X on that. I was like, no, stupid. I'm not doing that. I want something far better.
Did you just call Spam-A-Lot stupid?
It's great. I wanted something cuter, I guess I should say.
I'm telling Matt McGonigal. I'm telling him.
No, don't tell him. He'll fire me for all the stuff. But yeah, we were going to do that. It was going to be great. And then my partner had an offer to move quite far away and took it. And we had already pitched the show and bought the royalties and all of these things. And so it was like, okay, I've never directed a major musical. What do we do that we bought the royalties? We have audition dates set. There are posters hung. What do we do? So I asked a college friend, Alex Hunton, if he would music direct it for me. And I was like, okay, I'll direct the show. And it was very much like why not? I wasn't doing any other projects at the time. That's a lie. I had started, maybe this you don't know, I was directing a music video at the time as well. Also a ton of work. I was producing, directing, and starring in that music video. I know I'm very...
But she just drops that on us.
Yeah, by the way, that was for Right Hand Shade.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up Singing in the Rain. We had the auditions. I cast almost everyone who auditioned. It was a beautiful, phenomenal, giant cast. So much work. I ended up directing, stage managing, and costuming.
Oof. Are you kidding me?
It was a monster.
Because you couldn't find anybody? I mean, why would you do that? I just had
people kind of like stepping down from it.
Are you hard to work with?
No, I'll tell you why. And
Please,
I know this.
Pray tell.
I know this because I spoke to these people personally. It happened 7 times. And
in this show, in Singing in the Rain?
Yeah, it happened 7 times. I had 7 people step down because they were disappointed about casting.
Wait, can you expand on that a bit?
So there are 3 leads in Singing in the Rain.
Okay.
Don, Cosmo, and I forget the girl's name right now. Kathy. Okay. Don, Cosmo, and Kathy. They're great roles. They need to be of a certain age. You have to be able to tap dance. It's what Singing in the Rain is.
Yeah.
You've got to tap dance. You've got to sing. You've got to have that charisma. Those are 3 things I needed. I had 3 very solid leads. I cast them. I cast supporting roles around them. Excellent cast. And then I put my ensemble together, a very strong ensemble. And I had a potential stage manager who also wanted to costume. I'm like, you want to do both? Your funeral, get an assistant. She had an assistant, a student kind of on the rocks. And I'm like, okay, get a few. It's a great opportunity for them. She dropped because she really wanted to play Lena Lamont. And I'm like, you're not young enough to play Lena Lamont. And she was like, oh, it's an age thing. I'm like, well, yes, literally. I'm like, you have to play against Don Lockwood, who is far more difficult to cast to find a tap dancing, very handsome, great singing man in New Hampshire. There's only so many.
Yeah.
So I had to be Ray. And
I'm not one of them, by the way, just in case anyone says.
I tried for Ray. He wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. I wasn't paying enough. No, but I mean, it's, and that too, it's community theater to play such a major role and to not be paid for it. I tried to be fair, but so I had 7 people drop and I'm like, you know what? Wow. Frankly, if that's your attitude, I don't want you in my cast. So it's fine. I had everyone who remained was wonderful. Toward the end of the process, I had people kind of costuming themselves and they loved it.
Oh, interesting.
I gave them guidelines. And then I had all of my stagehands in their own costumes as well, which was very much like a Salvation Army steel. Like I was like, I want white shirts, khaki pants. I don't care what shoes, make them period, and suspenders. I'm like, and find a hat that's period if you want. And every time you come in and move a set piece, do in character. I was like, I never want to black out between scenes at all. Ooh, because there's too much life in Singing in the Rain. You will shatter the illusion completely. So we designed the set in such a way as well that watching the set move, we had these stairs that went up and these walls that would open and turn into other walls and these like pieces that would roll in and out. Amazing set. I mean, it rained on stage. And I'm like, there's too much magic on this set to have a blackout. So I want everybody in costume, do it in character. And they would walk out like, and like move something. They'd like pretend their back hurt, whatever, from lifting like you. And they would, it was great. It was a phenomenal show. I was so happy with it. The theater made money on it, which is the goal.
Always helps.
You know,
it's a good sign.
No, it's a great sign. I mean, and now, pending Corona, they're doing Spelling Bee. That theater is, oh my gosh, I think it opens next week. Yeah, I think it opens next weekend. Go see Spelling Bee, Footlight Theater.
There you go.
That'll be a great show too.
Yeah.
There.
All right, we need to back up though. You dropped on us. It rained.
Oh, it rained on stage.
It rained. Now, come on.
Yeah.
How does the magic happen? How did that?
I don't know if I should tell you.
What if some other group wants to do it? How hard is it to make it rain?
The cutest person to ask me this was Kelsey Domini's daughter. She came to see the show and she wrote me a letter about how much she loved the show because she's 6. She was 6 at the time. And she wrote me this letter. And at the very end, she goes, P.S. I would also like to know how you got the rain in the building. It was so cute.
Yeah, that's cute.
So what we had was this platform that it would land on that was lifted and arced just a little bit. And there was a trough at the base of it. So anyone who's seeing the video can kind of see it was like lifted like this. There's a trough so that any rain that fell would fall and end up in this trough so it wouldn't gather too much. But it was like shiny enough and you could see it fall. He had the umbrella. He tap danced under it. We got a waterproof mic and everything. It was great. We didn't have to buy it. We built it.
What? Really?
Yeah. So Robbie LaFlamme, he built that whole platform. Dan Darling designed it. All Footlight people they're brilliant. If you've never seen a show at Footlight, you need to see it. They're so good.
So did the water get pumped back up?
Yeah. So there's this giant bucket that held something like 50 gallons of water or something like that. I don't know. The huge like gallon type, whatever, giant thing. I don't know what it's called. I didn't design it. But so
a water holder on it.
A water holder. It was a giant water bottle. It's a bucket. Yeah. But it had this system. It had a pump in it that was a hot tub pump, I guess. It had this hose that would go up and over the grid, down just below the lights, and it would push through this hose or this pipe that just had little holes in it, so it would just drip through. And it was just enough. It would kind of fill it, and there was a cap on the other side, and it would sort of slosh back through, and then it would just drip a little bit.
Oh, that's good. I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, and he only slipped once in a rehearsal, never in a show, which was fantastic. And it was such magic.
Lighting it must have been fascinating.
Oh my gosh.
To see that.
It was amazing. So they're like, using colored lights? I'm like, put some white light. He had a lamp that lit up and he's swinging around it. I mean.
So he's literally splashing in the water.
He could kick the water. He kicked water into the pit for the band. It was great.
Wow. Well, because that's an impressive sight, right? Rather than just say some stupid curtain with tinsel on it or something, you know.
People do like projections and whatever. I'm like,
man.
That it was in my pitch when I pitched it to the theater. I was like, oh, it's going to rain on stage. Because it did. It rained on stage when I was in high school, when I did the show. Since I knew it could be done, I'm like, come on. We got to do it. So we did it. It happened. Sometimes I forget that happened.
That's the big thing about it.
But just like, because the show was such a whirlwind of my life. I mean, when it ended, I took the next day off from work and I was just like crying. I was like putting away costumes and just like crying. Like, cause it was so, and shows are like this, you pour your soul into it. It's all mind, spirit, body. It's so emotional. And then the Monday morning comes after it closes and you're like, bye.
Yeah. I hate that you're back at work. Nobody knows what you've done. You're like,
no.
I hate that feeling.
You're like, I've poured so much into this for months. That's what's so, I mean, since this is current, that's what's truly so devastating about the coronavirus and shows right now.
Man, you saw Broadway's closing down all that?
My gosh.
Are you kidding me?
And I mean, Broadway,
insane.
It's hard for the performers, but I think about like high schools and colleges and the money and the time and the effort and the heart that's gone into these shows that may never perform.
Some may never recover.
Right.
Some groups may never recover from it.
That's how you destroy an economy.
Yeah, I know.
But anyway, lightening up a little bit. I hope that is not the case. I hope that things rallied together. Like so far, the Hatbox, I don't believe has canceled anything.
Yeah, good.
Our show opens in 2 weeks at the Hatbox, and I hope we keep it.
What show's opening in 2 weeks at the Hatbox?
39 Steps.
You're in 39 Steps?
I am at 39 Steps. You didn't know that?
I did not.
I am. I'm the only female.
I did not know that. Are you liking it?
I love it.
Yeah? Have you done it before, that show?
No, I've never even seen the movie, actually. On purpose, I didn't watch the movie. I mean, I like to make characters my own if there's ever a movie. Unless, like when I did It's a Wonderful Life, you have to watch it because they came to see Mary Hatch.
Right.
You need to learn who Mary Hatch is.
Yeah.
But no, I'd never done the show. I'm with Chris Savage, Aaron Campagna, Scott Severance. I just forgot his last name. Scott Severance is producing. Greg Parker's directing. Meredith Henson stage managing.
Well, it's an all-star cast.
Oh gosh, great,
impressive.
Great. Hannah Joy is designing, which it's going to be fantastic.
Man,
it's going to be great,
man.
And we're putting so much into it. It'll be so funny that I'm like biting my nails. I'm like, please don't cancel the show.
Is this a 2-week or a 3-week show there?
3.
It is nice.
Yeah, it'll open March 27th. It closes Easter Sunday, April 12th.
I got to get there.
Make sure you come see it.
Yeah.
I hope people still come out for it. I think the theater lovers of the world will wash their hands and go see shows.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anybody with Broadway tickets is probably livid.
Yeah. Well, I'll be there. I don't care. I mean.
Oh man, if I had bought tickets to something, like I saw Hadestown last summer.
Yeah.
I'd pay any money to see that again. It was amazing.
Yeah. Even with coronavirus, you'd go see it again.
I'd see it again.
That's impressive.
I'd spend 2 weeks quarantined just to see it again. I really would.
It's self-quarantine.
Yeah, I saw Burn this same day. Actually, I saw 2 shows.
Whoa.
Yeah, I don't need money ever.
We get so cheap nowadays,
Yeah, Broadway is
a couple $100. So cheap. I've never been to Broadway, really.
What? Really?
Yeah, the 70s, I think I was. 70s.
Oh my gosh. There are some shows. I mean, even if you go to like the TKTS booth, you could see a show for like $80. Good show too.
Yeah, it's $80.
I know. But okay, if you could ever see Hadestown,
yeah,
do it.
That's like Hamilton, right? If you ever did you see him? Did you see it?
No.
Oh.
No, Hamilton is just so expensive, and it always has been.
I know.
And I heard an argument once about that show that is really, truly valid. He said, if you're going to make a show about something that important, you need to make it accessible. And I was like, I agree.
They don't have trouble selling tickets. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what's hard to argue. It's like, it's not like people aren't seeing it.
Right.
People are seeing it. The problem is like the groups of high schoolers that would learn so much from it are not seeing it because they can't afford it.
So how do you think your move out to the seacoast is going to affect, do you think it'll affect your performing at all? I mean, are you willing to travel? Some places I won't travel to, you know what I mean? They're just too far.
I will travel up to 90 minutes one way for the right show or for the right role. Like I have dream roles that I would oh man, I'd travel for those. I mean, I'll definitely come back to the Hatbox for the Humans, which you and I are doing.
Thank you.
Yeah. Name drop. Matt will be proud.
He will.
Assuming
it's
it gets
in
approved.
November. Yeah, right. Oh, yeah, that's right.
It's true, but we're fingers crossed we're hoping.
Correct.
Yeah. I'm hoping that it will only grow.
Are there groups out there that you're looking forward to maybe working with?
Yeah. New Hampshire Theater Project, more with the Players Ring. I'm auditioning for Hackmatack next weekend.
Oh, you are? Oh.
Very specific role, very specific show. So I'm...
you don't want to jinx it by telling us? Or?
No, I will. Yeah. I will. Maybe they'll hear it. I'm auditioning for Spitfire Grill.
Okay.
I really, really want Percy. I like that female lead. I have not played a lead in a musical. Well, that's not true. I was leading player in Pippin last summer.
Okay.
But which is super fun. But I love the Players Ring. I'm excited to live closer to it.
I like the Players Ring too.
So much fun to perform in.
Yes. It's even a smaller venue than the Hatbox.
Which is unbelievable.
I know.
People are like, this is so little. They're like, you should say the Players Ring. You want to be on top of actors. There you go.
Yeah, you are literally walking over their feet in that front
but
row.
I love it. I mean, I remember the first time I went to the Players Ring, I saw a Bengal tiger at the Baghdad Zoo. And it's a long story, but I had just done this huge project on that play specifically. It was a senior year of college. I drove from Plymouth to Portsmouth to see this show on like a Friday night. And I remember walking in the theater and I was like, I can sit and have tea and have a cookie while I watch this play. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was front row, loving it. Like as close to the actors as I am to you. I'd never been to the space before. A friend came with me who was also just beside himself about the whole thing. I think I breathed in when it started and breathed out when they were bowing. It was an amazing show. Amazing.
There's something about being that close to actors who are truly in character.
Yeah.
That you're buying the whole thing. I mean, you are so invested in a show like that you forget. Your mind just has the ability to see everything else that's going on, to hear anything on the street. You're there, you're present. One of the first things that got me involved in theater, I did theater in high school, but we went and saw a community theater play. It was a night of one acts, and it was a scene from, Night of the Iguana. And I'm telling you, to this day, when I think about it, I can feel the humidity of the jungle from the scene that was being... I was just transfixed. I was transposed. I was transported. I was there watching just two people. It was two people on the set, and I was captivated by it. I was not present anymore.
Those are the best play experiences.
It was crazy. That's true theater to me. I mean, anybody can go and watch some friends do some stuff.
Yeah, sure.
I think, yeah.
But yeah, there's something about, I love it at the Hat Box. I love it even more at the Ring. There's something about being that close.
I know.
Like you're so in it with them, watching them sweat. Like, oh, that's good.
You're young, but you've done a lot. What would you change? What would you, looking back in your short little career, would you do something different to get to where you are? Are there things that you didn't get to do yet that you're like, man, I got to get this done?
I haven't performed in Boston yet. I'd really like to. I think maybe that's smaller than you mean.
No, I just want to know about your dreams or something that hasn't necessarily.
I want it to be full time. I want it to be what I do.
You're close, right? I mean, you do a lot of things.
I hope so. But hey, that's the dream is to really just do it full time, and I'm pushing for it.
Yeah,
really, I have lots of interest, but theater is just
And there you go, another great one in the tank. That one's going off to the memorial. Have a great day.